Alright, so I'm going to try to do a video like Dr. Jack Cruz does his, out in the sunshine, which is where we all need to be. If you haven't watched Dr. Jack Cruz, get on there and watch him. He's a neuro surgeon, or he was, until he got in with the whole MK Ultra stuff and started figuring out some things about chromosome 2. And anyway, Cruz, C-R-U-Z-E, I believe. And welcome back to Balancing the Divine Feminine Ascension Frequencies with your gal here, Aria Jade. I've not been on in a minute, but I needed to get on to talk about what the whole channel is about. This divine feminine frequency that's coming in now, that has been here for the last little bit. I welcomed her in February of 2022 to 2222 at what time? 2:22, of course. But we are going through some hell through these revelations that are happening right now. And these are all just the seals opening, just like John said that they would in the book of Revelations. And chaos has ensued, and we have to go inward to balance what's going on the outside of us. So we are privy to information now like never before. Used to, if you wanted to go find and read the Book of the Dead, you had to find it in Egypt, you know? But since the 1800s, when Mary Magdalene's The Book of Mary was found, I believe it's 1898, things have been opening little by little. Things have been trying to come up and come to the surface so that we can see what's really there, just like all the nastiness. So sexual repression, which has been happening for centuries in the name of religion, right? Has repressed people, has made people ashamed of their sexuality, has made, kids were told not to masturbate when it's the most natural thing a child could be doing, discovering themselves and seeing what pleasurable feelings feel like. But we've been in an upside down matrix. It's all been spun upside down because we've been under the reign of Saturn, and it's had things backwards and upside down, the way that I understand everything. So we're just now beginning to understand that sex is natural, sex is totally beautiful, sex, even showing your skin should be okay, because we should be in a position of consciousness by now to where we realize that we have a twin flame, that we have an equal opposite, that we have someone that we are supposed to be here with, to spend time with, and to combine the positive and negative energies while they are balanced and grounded to populate the earth. All of that's been robbed. All of that's been taken away, and it's time for us to come back and start remembering these things so that we don't have fuck babies anymore, so that we don't have a baby labeled an accident and is given a screen as soon as they pop out the hole and just pushed to the side because mommy's got to work all the time, and so does daddy, because they never could afford the kid in the first place. They never wanted them. These are the children that are growing up that have no empathy, that have no drive, that have nothing, because they did not start in that place of love. That's mandatory. That's absolutely necessary. And of course we made up for that for years, because Grandma and Grandpa would say, oh, I'll love them, I'll take them in, and they would. But now guess what? the drugs have taken over Grandma and Grandpa's minds and their lives, so they can't raise these kids anymore. They're not in a position, monetarily or mentally, to love either. So we are looking at a world that's living without love. And we're searching for it everywhere. That's why the kids are just bebopping every little person that will let them do the nasty with them and going on with it. And used to, the elders were the ones who told the kids how life was supposed to be, and that love was beautiful and love was kind and love was patient and all the things, because they would show the children love, right? What's happening now? Either the elders are chasing love themselves because they are not whole, they are not balanced, they were born into a trauma-driven life that they have to go inward and heal themselves. And most of them don't even know, A, that needs to be healed, or B, if they do, how to go about doing that. So, the divine feminine frequency and us moving out of the Kali Yuga and into the Satya Yuga, into the golden age, in which Trump knows all about. He knows about these timelines. And why do you think he's making a golden-backed currency for this golden age? Of course, it goes hand in hand with these things. There's a lot of things that he's doing that are terrible and look awful on the surface, but I think overall he has an idea of the true timeline and how it needs to be fixed. I really believe that there were time travelers in his family that were with, Nikola Tesla's story is that the trunks were given to his uncle, the trunks were given to Trump's uncle by Tesla, that told all about this free energy that we were all supposed to be living under 100 years ago. We were supposed to be relieved of having to pay power bills way back with Tesla in the early 1900s. But that's supposed to happen, this summer. Really, I think the date is June 29th. They're supposed to switch over and go into a state to where we can receive our free power. I'm patiently awaiting that, hoping it's true, of course. But we also have the pyramids, which came online Saturday. Today is Wednesday, June 10th. Yesterday we had the alignment with big old Jupiter, Mr. Zeus himself, and Venus, which is significant because that is the masculine Jupiter and the feminine Venus, and they are in alignment with each other, meaning all of this is slowly permeating. Remember, through science class or metaphysics or ever how you learned all of this, first and foremost, everything comes through as a thought vibration, right? If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of what? Frequency, vibration, and energy. Energy, frequency, and vibration, right? Because none of this stuff is seen, it's only felt. And we can only manipulate it and use it to our advantage if we can stay out of the emotional zones, out of those high peaking emotions and those low peaking emotions. That's where we get lost. That's where it gets the hardest. It's best if we stay in the middle, but that's a whole nother conversation. Anyway, Tesla was trying to release documents, and of course at the time J.P. Morgan and the Rockefellers and all the powers that be, where the money was at the time, repressed all of that information, all of that knowledge, along with the healing knowledge that we now know. All of the food is working against us. Chemo and radiation kills. It does not heal. It may have its place. I'm not a nurse or a doctor, but in my mind, no, it does not. But anyway, so shame around sex got us to a big nasty point in all of this, and then the love of money, because the love of money is the root of all evil, right? So the fact that the divine feminine is here, it starts as a thought. Here I am telling you that thought, telling you that Mary Magdalene was not a whore, that Jesus saw at a well and said, "Oh, come with us, you nasty hoe." He loved her. She was his equal. She went to the mystery schools of Isis, and she is who indoctrinated him, I think is the right word. She is who taught him the things, because a woman couldn't do that. Women would have been shot, killed, beheaded. In fact, I'm very surprised he was allowed to take her along with the other 12 disciples. If you wonder about the number 13 and why it was always exiled, what number was Mary? After 12 comes 13. Also, Mary Magdalene, MM. Guess which number of the alphabet M is? Yes, you got it, 13. So, anyway, it's a divine feminine number, and it's been tried to be erased from history, because history is supposed to be herstory. Women are the portals of life through which life continues. We are gentle when things are in balance, and we have that divine masculine counterpart that takes up for us instead of us being against each other, the way they've manipulated us and made us become so against each other that we divorce each other and leave. This shit should not be happening. These are just more ways for them to make money. And the sooner we wake up to all of that, the wealthier and the healthier we will all be. So, balancing the divine feminine in essence is the connection with self-worth, the body, and your sexual energy. Our sexual energy has been taken from us. Listen to the music, what they call music. Listen to this rap shit that is, what is it? They took the beat, right? The perfect A. I probably get some of this confused. Remember, I'm backwards and upside down, but the perfect 440 is not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be 432, and everything got changed over to the 440s in the 40s, I believe, when we started creating atoms, man-made atoms. But anyway, coming back into this divine feminine, it is up to us to receive this thought as truth, first and foremost. Receive this, that there is goodness on this earth, that there is a golden day coming. We may be going through a lot of stuff, a lot of chaos, but it's up to us to calm the chaos. And to do that, we cannot be afraid of the enemy. We cannot be afraid, period. Because by and large, the word Satan just means enemy. It just means adversary. So we can't be afraid of that, and we can't be afraid of these people, that have done so many rituals and so many things that they have allowed their consciousness to be taken by a lower level density being, we're in a mess. But we've got to be able to understand this. And to understand it, we first have to hear it, then take it in as truth, and then meditate on it, right? So, important reading that I'm going to start going over. The Language Crystal. I've been after this book since 2020 when it was $1,000. I finally found it for $50, which just meant now it's time for me to read it. And it's so cool. My last name used to be Rowell. The very first thing that the book talks about is Ra and El. El means God in Hebrew, and Ra is the sun god of the Egyptians. So my last name is me in the middle of the two gods. Once you get on this path, the synchronicities start happening, and life becomes very exciting, to say the least. And money is a byproduct of happiness and health. It just naturally makes its way. Now the struggle is still there, and probably always will be, because that's what our life is about. Whether you realize it or not, it's about the struggle, and the best times happen in the struggle. If we didn't have a struggle, we wouldn't realize what to be thankful for. We wouldn't realize what we do have. We wouldn't realize when it's good if there was no bad. So now I just need a group that are not afraid of the bad, that are here to say, guess what, I'm a badass bitch. We've been burned before, and it might happen again. But we're here, and we're going to do something about all of this. We're going to stand in our own mind and in our own consciousness, and we're going to ascend all of this, and we're going to be better for it. So I'm going to start bringing Drew on here, because he is my divine masculine, and we are going to start talking about all the things that are going on that make it damn near impossible to have a peaceful, loving home with fire in the bedroom. Because that fire, my mom told me this years when I was a kid, that's your concrete to the foundation of a marriage, to the foundation of the vessel that you are building with that human being. Your sexual intimacy is the concrete that will hold you together through whatever happens here. And ours is at a point to where we know, now we are remarried, both of us are on our third marriage, so we're not saying, oh, we're perfect, oh, this is what, we're just going to get it out there and start talking to people about what they could do to balance themselves first and foremost, to become more healthier, to become healthier spiritually and then physically, right? And we're also going to give tips on how to get your spouse back in the mood to be with you. You know, that's where the divorce happens. Because think about it, you're fighting, arguing, and then all of a sudden that significant other plants a big kiss on your face and begins to love on you, and all of a sudden it's like, what problem? We had a problem? Not to say that you never need to get to the bottom of your issues, but if that love's there, nothing else matters. And that love creates boundaries, which so on and so forth. But keep watching, because Drew and I will be on here soon. Love to you.